All right, hello collective. The audio change. There is an audio change. I don't know if there is going to be one or not. It's because I'm using my phone today. The mic and stuff have to charge. I want to get this out. Um, Whoever and truly whatever I was channeling for this one, definitely hit a lot more in depth. So I'm very excited to get this out. But this self trauma is about denial. I wanted to talk about self trauma and the course of denial because it's important to know why we even deny, what it means to be in denial, and not in the sense that we're going to define these things, but we're going to etch out a more direct path that could at least help someone find out why they're in denial of something, why they keep denying something, or to help them overcome a period of denial. So in life, we tend to go through a lot, which can end you down a path of denial due to not knowing how to accept denial or wanting to accept it and digest everything that you experience. This only leads to blockages, making you heavier and prone to misunderstandings, inner and outer arguments, ignorance, arrogance, and giving a cozy home for your demons rather than evicting them. And now, while after writing this, evicting them isn't technically the right way I would say this either. I would say instead of evicting, I would definitely say changing the state of your demon, removing the heaviness from your demons to make them lighter beings. And to those people that say everyone needs a home, in the sense of these entities, or you love your demons, it's those people are already lost and wish to keep their demons. They wish to keep that low vibrational part of them. Let them. They are not ready to evolve past that phase of life. They are either stuck in some form of religious dogma or only wish to give home to evil in their vessel. Let them and their confusion exist away from you if you don't wish to have them try to latch onto you and or convert what you already have as light into dark, into that dark state, whatever you have as the freedom factor turning into the restrictive factor. In this day and age, you can tell when someone is a devil, when someone is under control of an evil entity, or when someone is either both or one of them, or isn't either of them. Excuse me. This is only truly known when you yourself are cleansing out your own demons rather than justifying them. Because whenever you meet a similar demon, a similar thing that you are dissatisfied with, or a similar thing that you are also dealing with the realm of denial, you will sometimes look at the other person and be like, oh, well, I understand, so it's okay for you to do that. And though it is for a certain amount of time, you have to break these cycles at some point. So it would be best and very beneficiary to all parties involved to not feed into that energy of allowing people to be in that state. Now, of course, that doesn't mean forcing them, but it means giving them the guidelines to know how to move from that state into other states. You are not to be polarized, as being polarized is part of this world's illusion. Hence why duality is a soul trap for those that wish to praise the two forces of God and Satan. Those who fall in the duality trap believe it's hard to make a choice, or that your choice needs to switch sides constantly. This is due to their own denial of knowing truth, a correct way, or even knowing their way, their truth, or what they truly like. As well as it allows them to praise two gods, which is the easier way out, rather than acknowledging that there are more than one gods, but choosing only one path to follow. Why would you want to be in a path of glory, yet fall down the path of defeat? You know what I mean? With glory, there is no defeat. The only defeat there is a form of loss that you will see as it being a disadvantage rather than an advantage, which it wouldn't really be a loss, it would be a gain. Instead of losing someone, you're now gaining more time, more energy, more resources for what you desire or need to do, rather than wasting it on another that doesn't have that, that's taking up that space, I should say. As if you truly liked, you wouldn't indulge in things you didn't like. Even if you were to try something new, you would know beforehand if you would really like it or not. If you truly listen to your intuition and yourself rather than the other senses that become inflamed in any situation, you would understand this, and you would also get to the quicker answers rather than being stuck in a turmoil loop or a confusion loop or going back and forth with different ideals and things of that nature. When you make the choice to stop being polarized and choose only what's best for you, also while walking down that path, you'll stop being in denial. Denial only hinders you from growing. It keeps you in a lower state. Unfortunately, those with low vibrations don't realize this, and they have... I don't want to say the way I wrote it out, because the way I wrote it out was pretty harsh. It's not that it's not harsh, but definitely it would ruffle feathers. But those who are in lower vibrations are not the best when it comes to mental capacities. They don't understand very many things. They're not as smart as those at higher vibrations. And those that wish to believe, B-lie-V-E, giving energy to lies, to everything that they say, everyone that believes in everything that they're told, stay in this lower vibration as they don't know the truth, which is solely based off fact, rather than going off of opinions, which are based off of lies, myth, and incorrect workings. Because an opinion isn't always going to see the full spectrum. An opinion's only going to see what they want to see, which is their light, rather than what's in the shadow, which holds the rest of what's happening, which holds the full truth of everything. Every coin has two sides, and I've bumped into a lot. I've tried to talk. I've tried to talk because it seems like every person who's in a position, and I'm not going to say everyone, I'm going to say the ones that I've reached out to personally, not the ones that reach out to me, but the ones I've reached out to try and talk to about certain things, they tend to not like the statement of every coin has two sides, which really confuses me as someone that sees the truth in that statement of showing the ignorance and negligence of the actual reality we live in, of the shadow side being the side of the coin that's hidden, and that side still remaining true. A coin cannot be a coin without two sides, as we recognize it on this realm as a 3D object. And even though that 3D object is an illusion, it's an illusion that many buy. So there still is two sides to that one coin. We know this because even a 2D object can be flipped over to see a different side of it. A 3D object would be able to see its depth inside of it, which is where the shadow comes from, right? So we know that exists, but those that continue to say that there are no two sides to the coin, and I have bumped into people who said that. It's very weird. One of the people that said that, I talked to them on Instagram, funnily enough. And then after I talked to them on Instagram, they went right to TikTok, which immediately told me that they're looking for an audience of like a more believable state. They don't actually want to help people. And it's kind of funny that TikTok got removed because, I don't really talk about that. I don't really care that it did. It wasn't really helping anything anyway. It's going to get people to start talking to other people more, hopefully getting people more active and putting more effort into real life communities rather than being toxically online 24/7 and making a living off of their lifestyle and what they do. It's weird. Anyway, I've noticed a lot of people doing that. Like they'll hop platforms whenever they want to reach different audiences. And I want to be more of a bridge. Well, it's not that I want to be. It's more that I'm playing the role as being a bridge between the platforms in that sense, to try and guide more to the truth of nature rather than the opinion of nature. Because if we look up at the sky at night, all those stars up there are the same as the atoms on Earth. Earth is a giant electron at the end of the day. So that's how your ancestors, I don't know why we're going off on this tangent, but we'll go off on it for a little bit. But that's how our ancestors knew how to look up in the sky to find out what's going on, in space and stuff. That's what we were taught, is the Earth is it's literally like that. Everything is connected. The big is connected to the small, and the microscopic is connected to the scopic was what it would be, because it would be micro. Or the macroscopic, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Back to the denial thing. Those that want to disagree with that statement still do not know truth. and most likely won't for a while, still in the state of denial of there being a truth, which is caused by a lack of studying origins, which not only includes the location, but the time and every other factor that revolves around whatever mythology or subject they're looking at. It also can be them falling into a publicly accepted way of motion due to it being easier or trying to fit in some sort of way. The fear of a truth being there and the truth going against what they know, as in like a psychosis type of energy. A lack of humility. They could also be a child of Satan. It's only devils will avoid the truth to try to keep their deeds hidden. And if not a child, a servant or slave of Satan. They could also be a bot or AI, only wanting to regurgitate what others are saying to push an agenda made by the archons that control this plane or for financial purposes. They could also be just trying to push their own agenda due to a lack of being heard. There's a lot of factors that fall into this, but we're only going to name a few. The rest you can gauge on your own by your own experiences, but remember, when you try to do that, detach from your ego. Don't personalize it. Don't make it personal towards yourself. Just see the energy as it truly is. Recently, I was asked in the comment section, is it true when your child says, I hate you? Now, the question was a lot more in depth than that, and it was definitely presented to me by a bot because they were trying to control a narrative of what was going on rather than seeing the actual what was really going on. So it was not the best question, but I like using examples, and if someone comes towards me with a question, I'm always going to do my best to answer it. Why would you ask a question if you don't want an answer? You would have to say that it's a rhetorical question at that point, really. And the answer to that question is yes, but there's a few factors now that go into this, so we're going to talk about that to clear the water up. As denial for someone saying they hate, they put you in a category of being a disagreeable or a lower vibration. To be agreeable is to be in a higher vibration. Excuse me. And I will talk about how to be an agreeable in this state, with this statement being present as well, because it's very important to know both sides of it. But firstly, you need to remember this. Everything that anyone says is meant, unless it would never have been said in the first place. It's either meant as a projection or deflection. It sometimes is taken personally whenever it's not meant to be taken personally. There might be a miscommunication. When a child says they hate you, they mean they hate you. Does that mean it's directed towards your actions, though? It doesn't mean it's directed towards you or your actions, though. This is the question you have to ask yourself. These actions can be past, present, or even future if you said you would give a certain reaction if an action was done, telling the future of the events to conspire. Overstand that ego will personalize it, making you feel like it's an immediate attack to you or on you, rather than the energy you are giving to the child and receiving from that child. Whether or not you know or knew that you gave this energy, it still occurred, which gave that reaction. Maybe you denied that child access to something or told that child no, and their response was to say, I hate you, rather than I hate your actions or I hate that you did this, right? There is a difference in the phrases, but both those phrases and ego stands behind it that says it. Remember that when energy is coming at someone, especially a restricting energy, pressure is applied, which can lead to various responses, and depending on the communication skills of those involved, there will be a miscommunication between both of you verbally and energetically, which can lead to a various amount of actions being taken. A disagreeable would stay in the energy of hate, though they dislike that energy, and stoop to that lower vibration, either yelling back, retaliating in a verbal manner, or taking physical action, or taking it personally and allowing it to eat them alive. An agreeable, however, would accept the energy coming from the child, see it as it is by comparing the actions they did and comparing the whole scenario to it, not isolating the energy, but an understanding that that energy came from a situation and allowing that situation to embody the energy so that it doesn't personalize to you, but it personalizes to the interaction between both, you know? Now, these actions could be past or present, and then with the communicating child, and again with communicating with the child, asking why do you feel that way, or what do you hate, to get to the bottom line of what was actually meant, rather than projecting energy. people usually respond with "that hurt my feelings," and depending on the energy, depending on the spirit, I should say as well. I even wrote in the notes, I should truly say that not the child, but the spirit, because it is a spirit. But on the end of the day, it is the physical that you're attached to. So you don't really actualize and remember in that heat of the moment that it's not the child saying that to you. It's the spirit that came over that child that's letting it say that. Remember, we're all vessels and things can come in and out, you know? But you ask these questions, and a lot of people say that hurts my feeling, which gives the energy that spirit chose to be in. It gives that spirit like a choice to dig deeper and add more force, or sometimes the spirit will overstand it. So it's best to, though it's important to be vulnerable, don't allow that to be your first move. Always ask. Question the spirit. That's literally the first rule. Question every spirit. And then after you question it, when you get down to the bottom line, say, "that hurt my feelings." Next time, say this. And this doesn't have to be with a child. This could be with anyone. The only thing is you have to be agreeable to yourself. You have to be agreeable to knowing that there is a deeper meaning behind these words being said. And being acceptable means accepting and understanding that that person may not know at that direct time what they're actually trying to say, or that they're embarrassed about what they said and they won't want to touch up on it. You have to agree to these things. That's the interaction part of it. You cannot agree to disagree. Agreeing to disagree is agreeing to a disagreement. You're now disagreeing because you've agreed with something that you don't want. That phrase is, I forgot the actual term of it, but it's so backwards. It's saying that you're doing something that you're not doing, and you can't do something that you're not doing. The law of inaction is still an action. You're taking the action of not doing anything. That's still an action. There is no such thing as a true inaction, because the lack of your energy, the lack of your action will still cause a chain event, because that was your choice. And now you have consequences to pay due to that lack of action. As if there was a true non-actionatory thing, there would be no action taken. There would be no change. That means literally no change done to the smallest effect, no change on the mind, no change on the people around you. The world will go as it is. But due to the action of inaction, there will always be something to battle that inaction, which would be action. That's how the laws of this realm works. Okay? To be disagreeable is to disagree, and to be agreeable is to agree. It's not the fact that you want to disagree to agree, but you're really looking for the line of, what can I do to agree with myself and not agree with what's being put at me? Because what's being thrown at me is not me. It's not something that I agreed to. I did not agree for the energy to that, for that other reaction to come at me. So do I become disagreeable to myself, which would be to play back into that energy? Or do I agree with myself and allow that energy to be and transmute it internally, so that whenever I decide to respond or react, it's not in a disagreeable manner, but in an agreeable manner towards myself? Because if you meet someone else with a disagreeable energy that they sent you a disagreeable energy with, that gives them the power. Now they can do something that would overpower you even more, because you're already in a disagreement with not only your actions at the time, but the other person's at the time. Denial is a form of ignorance, as you ignore what's being said for the sake of ego or for some other factor involved. This only leads you down wrong paths. Just as you will deny that something won't hurt you, and it does, is the same as you denying truth even though it is. It is energy that we look at. If you are truly enlightened, you would know this and understand this. The words have energy behind them, and the person has no power other than to change the state of those energies. Energy can never be created nor destroyed, as the law of thermodynamics states. That means when you accept a perverted definition of a word, that is you transforming it and its original state. When you deny, you don't accept something in the state and try to change it. All you can do is change. It will never be destroyed. And over time, it will change even more. This is where time heals all wounds. It does heal all wounds, but how will you let it heal? Will you let it crust up and heal? Will you allow that healing to be that negative energy to put up a wall, or you allow that healing to actually soften you down and allow that wound to heal? That's what you really have to look at. Oh goodness. Where was I at? Okay, when you deny, you don't accept something in its state and try to change it. And all you can do is change. It will never be destroyed over time. It will change even more. Ignoring something changes a small issue into a large issue with the measurement of time. As time is only a measurement of length or how long something is or how something will last, etc., etc. This is the process of healing. Not to eliminate, but to convert, to learn to control. Many people can't do this and turn to controlling externally, trying to predict the state of another by saying, oh, you're just mad or XYZ, instead of accepting what's really being presented to them, trying to control their energy, to convert their energy to how they're trying to project it, to make their statement seem better, or allowing whatever cannot be changed to then overcome them. If you cannot do it internally, it cannot happen externally. If you cannot accept things internally, you cannot accept things externally. This is the balance you truly are looking for. This is the balance of internal harmony with external chaos. Letting the external be as it is while also remaining calm internally. Changing the external with your internal actions. This is the agreeable way of life, the life that we are all promised yet struggle so hard to achieve. And the reason why is because we're looking for that sense of control. We're always looking at things that we disagree with rather than just simply agreeing with. When we move forward in this agreeable energy, you understand that things are just going to be as they are. You may not like something, but that does not mean that you have to disagree with it. You can if you choose, but you don't have to disagree with it. You don't have to allow that disagreeable energy to be there. You can agree with yourself that this is not something that I would like to pertain in, and this is something that I would wish to stop, but remembering that the only way to stop anything is through internal evaluation, doing that internal work. When people blame the devil externally for doing things, that is a way of avoidance. That is a way of denial, not seeing that they themselves are playing the devil in their life. And the only reason they have the ability to project that imagery on the external is because on the internal, they are not doing something that they wish to do. They are stopping themselves. They are actually being the devil of their own life, but they are placing it on the 3D realm, which is all an illusion made up by things that everyone comes to agreements with, that we all disagree with at the same time, which is really funny. But understanding it like that will really help you see the full truth of it. Because in this state of denial, which a lot of people are in due to being lied to so much, they then believe that there's no truth, or that there are multiple truths. When the truth cannot be multiplied, it can only be one. There are multiple paths to the truth, but you have to continuously walk down it to see, which walking down it, you have to walk through the time, through the locations, the ages, who practiced those things, who talked about those things, everything down to the core. The truth will remain. Words are specifically used. They were not formed to have another definition. Those other definitions are not what they mean. They have origins. They have original things. They have etymology. Which etymology translates to truth of words. This is why you look up the etymology of words, so that you know what they actually mean compared to what this realm has turned it into the illusion of, which is a backwards logic that they try and keep people in, so that when they use these words, they're not saying what they're actually meaning. And you have to really look at things like that. You have to really understand. There's so many words that have con in it. Like conjure. Why would you want to conjure something up? Con is to be disagreeable. Do you understand? We're coming into this realm of truth where we should start looking at things like that. Why would you want to, that's like, listen, it's not called, I can't even say that. Can I? Hold on, let me think. It's like procreate, concreate. That's such a weird word. I don't know. But it's like that. Like, listen to how these words are. Use pro. If you're wanting for positive things, use the word pro. You don't want to be conscious. You want to be procious. That's why it's called the conscious community. They are disagreeable. They're not aware. They're disagreeing with everything. They're trying to bust things down because they don't have that internalized overstanding. That's why we say overstanding and not understanding. Why would you stand under something to be under that pressure and not stand on top of it to be over it? You would want to stand over top of things. That shows that you have not only overstood, it shows that you have a greater, I'm trying to say without saying overstanding, but you have a greater grasp of that subject at hand. You have a greater sight. You have oversight. You can see better with it. You have a bird's eye view with it rather than being under it. That being under things causes pressure. That pressure causes stress and anxiety and all those things. You know what I mean? So really look at words that way. We're not taught these things. These are things we have to look at. Why would we be taught any form of truth in a realm that does not want you actually free? In a realm that makes you a business based off your birth certificate number and your social security number, puts you in a business and hires banks in your name that they then drip feed you back throughout time. Why would a state of a world that's in that type of energy want to tell you any form of truth? You have to understand these things. The truth is out there, and there is only one truth. Now, that one truth will send you home, and that truth is understanding things. I can't tell you the full truth because I don't follow what you follow. To know the truth is know the truth of what you follow. Anyone can know the truth of what anyone follows if they take the time to study that to deeper metrics, which again is why I have the Malachi books and stuff in the description. Malachi does not just talk about Christianity. He talks about everything. He talks about Buddhism, Hinduism. He talks about the Quran. He talks about the Torah. He talks about everything. It's the master teacher, the supreme master teacher, one that has mastered all subjects that could be taught. If you need to find the truth of what you're desiring to live in, follow Nuwapic, which is right knowledge, right understanding, following the sciences, the rules that make up this realm, and showing you the actual, the basis of how things work, you know? And it's not to get you to follow anyone, but it's to get you to walk down the path that you're already on. You're not going to find any truth from a preacher or from a pastor that doesn't even know the actual meanings or the actual book itself. They know how to recite the book, but do they know who wrote what chapters of the book? Do they understand the prophecies in the book? Do they understand that there was a deceiver that wrote the majority of the book, that then a council of people then edited and made a grandeur part of that book? It's all the devil's game. It's all Satan's game in the grand scheme of things. So you have to understand that the only way to beat that devil, to beat that curse, is with full truth, which exists. And that's why people don't believe there's a truth, because they've believed and fed into the devil's lie for so long, from looking at things from an external point of view instead of an internal, instead of questioning things, just accepting things and digesting things from someone else's mouth, being baby birded, that they don't even see anything other than what they've been told, because they fell under the gospel or the spell of the ghost, the spell of a spirit. And it ain't no Holy Spirit. Trust me on that. But regardless, this is the self-trauma denial episode. Thank you all so much for all the support as always. I love each and every one of you all to the moon and back, tenfold and forever, and I will see you all later.